So good morning to everyone. Thank you for coming to this very exciting conference on olive oil, on growth and health. During these days, we are going to dive into the potential benefits of olive oil for health, but also in terms of sustainability and on the growth. So just to get to have a very good start, we are going to have Professor Franco with us. He's professor at the University of Utrecht, and he's the head of the Department of Global Public Health and Bioethics. So we feel very honored of having him here. Thank you so much for coming, and we hope you enjoy this presentation.
I think it was 14, 15 years ago, I was in a class. The class was about innovation. And my teacher asked me, or asked us, to the full classroom, to draw the hospital of the future. I have to confess I'm terrible at drawing. I'm really bad. I'm not Picasso or any good drawer at all, but I was able to find the drawing, and please bear with me, I'm going to share it with you. My teacher came to my table and asked me, show me the drawing. And I say, here, behold, the hospital of the future. And he said to me, what are you talking about? Do you think that in 10 years the hospitals are going to disappear? Well, first thing, you didn't say how much time. And second, about the future, we can say anything we want, right? And when you have olives, who needs hospitals? Pues muchas gracias a todos por la invitación. Gracias por estar aquí, Dr. Bautista, a Miguel Ángel. Thank you very much. And it's really a pleasure to be here to talk about my personal opinion, my personal journey through research in the fields of aging, in the fields of the challenges that we're facing today. And I'm going to share with you as well a little bit about the future. Some personal reflections. When we talk about the future, we often use the word innovation. And innovation can be defined, as you can see, as the introduction of novelties, the alteration of what is established by the introduction of new elements or forms. What I say to the people that I work with, everything that has been done can and should be done better. Everything that has been published can and should be done better. It doesn't matter if it's New England, it doesn't matter if it's science, it doesn't matter if it's nature, it has to be done better. And we have to find a way in which we can do it better. Innovation is often used as a synonym of solutions. And I think this is a big mistake, because we see a lot of people working on innovation, focusing on solutions, and solutions for what? And quite often they come with solutions that solve nothing, that are practically useless, because the core driver of innovation is actually problems. Let's put it more positive, more optimistic. Let's call it challenges. Let's call it opportunities. The core driver of innovation is identifying the challenges and the opportunities that we're facing, and only when we can really delineate those challenges and those opportunities, correctly define them, and identify whether they are challenges and whether we need solutions for it, can we actually find innovation. So we would like to start with the challenges that we're facing today. And I would like to start with the first, which is aging of societies. What do we mean with it? This is what I call the river of life. The greatest successes of humankind in recent history, perhaps, or ever. In the last 150 years, we have seen an increase in life expectancy of 45 years. People translated that if you live a week, you gain a weekend. I translated to you that if you listen to me for 30 minutes, you gain 10. You in the back that you fall asleep, don't worry. Go sleep, you will gain more time. Sleep is good for you. All you have to do is remain alive. As you can see, society, research, humankind by itself is taking us through this river of life. And no matter what happens, and you can see here different gaps or different decreases in life expectancy, no matter what happens, what we see is that continuous increase of life expectancy throughout the world, which has meant that the amount of people over age 65, right now, we probably have over 750 million. In the year 2050, we will double this amount by 1.5 billion. On top of that, we have a lot of misconception about where these people are. And what we expect to see, the biggest rise and the biggest increase and the biggest amount will be in the least developed countries. These people over age 65, the biggest amount will not be in Europe or North America or the global north, as people would like to call it. This has been accompanied by another challenge or opportunity. And the fact is that the global fertility rates had decreased by half in the last 70 years, and is expected to continue to decrease, which has meant that populations that used to look like pyramids, like the population in the Netherlands, are every time becoming more rectangular. Or if we look into the world, when we used to have a lot of children and not so many elderly people, it's becoming actually a decrease in the amount of people that are sustaining the basis of our economic, pension, etc., societal models that we have today, and an increase of people over age 60, 65, etc., by this river of life, by this desire of living longer, but under which circumstances? Because the fact that we have been living for so long has made us reflect into utilizing concepts like healthy aging, have made us reflect into defining concepts such as aging. And what is aging? Quite often when you hear about healthy aging or somebody's presenting about healthy aging, you see things like this. The closest I was to a six-pack, I was probably 16 years old. I don't want to show you because I have a one-pack. They show you the 75-year-old that ran a marathon. I think I can run 4 kilometers, and that is already a miracle. Or the 80-year-old that can climb the Everest. This is like if you want to define a man, they show you Leo Messi. Or if they want to define you a woman, they show you, I don't know, Merkel. This is unattainable. And it's actually not a good message for the public or for society to present this kind of images when we talk about healthy aging. On top of that, there is a lot of confusion about aging and senescence. What is aging and what is the difference between aging and senescence? And on top of that, there is a lot of these kind of figures out there in different fields of medicine that present life like a mountain that you climb and you get better and better, and you can see the green area, and you're climbing the mountain, getting better and better, and suddenly when you turn 28, Stefania, happy birthday, you start climbing and you start going down the ladder into decay. Does this make sense? Is life just a destiny of reaching a point of time where there is only but decay, and we just let the time and the clock tick, tock, tick, tock, and we go down and down the ladder? When I was working in aging, I one day bumped into my neighbor. My neighbor is a math teacher, and he tried to ask me, or he asked me, what are you working on? And I said to him, I'm looking at the situation of aging research in the United Kingdom. And he asked me a very difficult question. He asked me, what is aging? And I say, Peter, let's grab a cup of tea. Well, I drink coffee, but he's British, so we had to grab a cup of tea. So we sat in his kitchen, and I grabbed a napkin. And I said, but you're a math teacher, so you know what a spring is. So human beings are like a spring. So imagine a spring that has a basis, and it has a spring. And you know a spring, you put a weight, and the spring loses its original size. And when you remove the weight, the spring recovers its original size. But if you put too much weight on it, it loses its original size and gradually comes to a point that the spring no longer recoils, does not recover its original size, and the spring ceases to function. Human beings are like that. We have a basis, genetics, epigenetics. We have a physical structure. We are surrounded by an environment that determines whether the spring is going to oxidate or is going to be damaged. And every day we are facing a different stressor. We spend a bad night because we have a jet lag, or we have light in front of our window and doesn't let us sleep, or we had a fight with our wives for the same reason, or we were late to a conference, or I have to present here. Every day we face a different challenge. Our spring loses its original length, and it recovers its length once the weight is removed. While looking at the napkin and looking at Peter, my neighbor, I realized that aging is not here. Aging starts before life. It starts actually when life starts. It continues into babyhood. It continues into adulthood, and you never know how it's going to end. A couple of things about this. There was a lot of discussions in the past about the fetal origins of disease, things that happen in the womb of your mother. Might they affect your life? Of course. But we shouldn't be talking about fetal origins of disease. We should be talking about everyday origins of disease, because it's every day's decision that is going to shape our trajectories of life. Already when we are in the womb of our mother, maybe we are not taking decisions, but our mother is taking decisions. Another thing that I think is important here is that being the President of America is not good for you. So, Dr. Sabaté, it's not a good idea to change career at this point of time, because this is the first presidency, this is the second, this is the end of the second, and these two gentlemen have a difference of a couple of months, and this picture is taken with a difference of months as well. And you can see different signs of aging. Maybe you could talk about cosmetic surgery, but I have no evidence. Anyway, aging, in my opinion, is something that starts when life starts. It's not something reserved for the elderly. Aging is, in fact, a synonym of life, and it's not a synonym of decay. And what is important is that our capacity to accommodate to those stressors, to those weights, is what is going to determine our trajectories of aging. Now, if that is aging, what is healthy aging? Another term that we often use and often hear, and everybody talks about healthy aging, referring to absolutely everything. Let's start with the definition of health, a state of complete well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. But disease or infirmity are not just binary concepts. It's not like you are ill or not. Just like it's not like you are healthy or not. In fact, what we do is we live a life in which we every day have different degrees of disease, discomfort, or health, or disability. And we have different degrees of health. And I think the message here should be that first, health is not a binary concept, you are healthy or not. And the second is, no matter at what stage you are in your life, as long as you are alive, you have a degree of green that you can aspire to achieve. You have a degree of green that you want to maintain. And if you have lost it, you can recover it. So health is for all, irrespective of the presence of disease, irrespective of disease, infirmity, irrespective of disability. And healthy aging is the presence or the degree of health at the different stages throughout life, because we have thought of aging as a synonym of life. It's a condition of highly preserved function at multiple levels, characterized by the complexity of our system to be able to accommodate the lines or the curves of the spring that I used to talk to, which altogether translate into a word that has been used a lot during the pandemic and is often used now, which is resilience. Resilience at the physical, metabolic, mental level. This is our capacity basically to face a stressor, lose its original length of our spring, and recover it after the stressor has been removed. The changes in society regarding aging and what has brought into society has also been translated into the characteristics of diseases that affect our population. By the end of 1990, the top diseases in the world were infectious diseases. In 2010, we already saw that non-communicable disorders were started to climb the ladder. By 2040, we expect that the majority of the causes of mortality and morbidity throughout the world are non-communicable disorders. And you can see diseases like diabetes and Alzheimer's in the top 10. Chronic kidney disease, COPD, cancer. This doesn't mean, as we thought during many decades, that situations like this are over. We are living in a world that is connected. We are living global. And we know that despite that the changes that are occurring in the way that in our habits and the increases in non-communicable disorders, humankind per se remains vulnerable to situations like the situation that we live in the last years. We live a life, but we don't know how to live. René, in his search for the ultimate truth, asked himself, question everything, what is real? What is the ultimate truth? If you are thinking right now, I'm really getting bored with this lecture, or I'm liking it, or I want to be elsewhere, or you're thinking about the infamous victory of Real Madrid yesterday that was not deserved, whatever you're thinking about, I can tell you good news, you're alive. I think, therefore I exist. Therefore I live. But we come to a life with no instructions. We go to the school and we learn what is the capital of Kazakhstan. Probably you remember, Astana. But we don't know how to cook, what to eat, how to move, how to be, how to live. So, yes, okay, I think, but how should I live? And why aren't we teaching this? And as parents, we are not even equipped how to teach our children how to live. And in schools, even less. So, and why is this important? Because if you look at the majority of the risk factors associated with mortality and morbidity in the world are related to our behavior, the way that we live our lives, obesity, hypertension, tobacco, alcohol, cholesterol, pollution. It is our behavior that is determining what we are living now, which is a pandemic of man-made diseases. Majority of medical associations don't care about this, really. The American Heart Association has given what I call a poor attempt, a timid attempt, to talk about cardiovascular health. They define life essential 8, and you can see in the top, smoking, sleeping, eating, moving. Yes, I think this is a way to live your life. And you see in the bottom, glucose, weight, lipids, and hypertension. I don't choose to live a life, an obese life. I don't choose to live a hypertensive life. These are actually consequences of your actions. But at least they try. Are they meaningful? Yes, we found that this can increase your life expectancy, of course. We're utilizing healthy habits and diseases to define somebody's state of health. So of course it's going to contribute to people's life expectancy. But it has brought us to a concept, while if we think of healthy aging as a consequence of the actions and the decisions that we take every day, we should be thinking also about how do we live our lives and what is healthy living. And a lot of people are talking about healthy living nowadays, but nobody has defined it. This is not my slide. But what I wanted share with you is that healthy living is not just about your lifestyle. It's about whether you have a motivation to live your life, whether you have friends, whether you have a community, financial independence. It goes beyond than the traditional concepts that we have of living. And this is one of the things that I'm doing in Utrecht, besides leading the Department of Global Public Health and leading a platform that is called Healthy Living. In this platform, we have different aspects, and basically what we want to do is to change the way that we are seeing the healthcare system. The healthcare system is completely directed towards disease. It's not directed towards health. So in one of our main activities, what we want to do is to focus our consultation in health. When we look at the lives of people, a patient comes to the hospital. We give them some treatment, medication, a surgery, whatever, and we send them back into the community. This is not where health is actually being shaped. Health is being shaped outside the hospital. And we want to create a consultation that is not focused on disease, but is a focus on health and can be offered to all the patients that visit our hospital, which is approximately 40,000 patients per year. We already started the program, we are piloting it, we are expanding it, and we are hoping to reach at least 10,000 next year and then going forward. Irrespective of whatever reason you come to the hospital, you have a life worth living, and you have a life worth knowing how to live. So we use a model to motivate people that is focused on your goals. And we want to make it into an optimistic space where we try to find for opportunities. My goal might be spend more time with my grandchildren. Not that I have, but I wish I could have very soon. My son is 10, so I'm waiting. I love children, but anyway. Other people can be to play football again, etc. And it's not about just diet or your life or your exercise, but it's looking at the reality, how you live your life, and then trying to find opportunities on how to motivate people to make a change. We have seen also that the pandemic has changed dramatically the way we work, and the gravitational points of living had changed. While in the past we used to spend half of our time in the office, perhaps more, perhaps less, nowadays we see people more and more working from home. So the consequences of the place where we live in our life, in the way that we live our life, are even more dramatic. The impact of commuting and the impact of the office is every time less. So together with a big construction company in the Netherlands, we are looking for building a city or an example of a city starting with a neighborhood that is designed from scratch based on the evidence of what could help people to lead a healthy life. Where should be the green spaces distributed? How should be the materials? How should we reduce noise pollution? How can we allow people to sleep better? How can we facilitate that people have more social cohesion? And what we're doing this is trying to build this neighborhood. This is how we expect to look like. It's not built yet. It's a process that is going to take 2, perhaps 3 years, perhaps 1.5. And find a way in which we can stimulate healthy living from the scratch, from the design, working with the retailers, with the supermarkets, etc., to define a neighborhood of 6,000 people that is going to be designed towards healthy living, and that could constitute a new urbanistic model to define and design new neighborhoods in the future. We also have now a myriad of information available, and I also lead an artificial intelligence lab on healthy living, where we try to integrate information that we're collecting on a daily basis and try to provide better information to populations to be able to improve their ways of healthy living and prevention. The last challenge that I would like to share with you is, I think, the more important, overarching, and top priority challenge that we're facing today, which is planetary health. Because if anything, in all the slides that we have seen before, what we can conclude is that we are all connected in a very small home that is this planet, and we need to take care of all the species and everything that surrounds us. We should be not thinking of healthy aging, but perhaps should be thinking of sustainable aging. In that desire of living healthier and longer, can we actually accommodate 9 billion, 10 billion people? And how can we make this sustainable? This is again a challenge and an opportunity. What about the future? Just to finalize my talk, I would like to share with you some reflections that I have about the future. The first thing, as you can see in brackets, I call it preventive medicine. I think medicine per se ought to evolve from curative palliative medicine that we live today to a medicine that is preventive in its essence. I won't use the preventive anymore because I will assume that the medicine of the future is a preventive medicine per se. The first aspect that I would like to share with you is that we need to remove conceptual barriers. What do I mean with this? Quite often you have seen about primary prevention, that is for everyone, secondary prevention for the people that have some level of disease, tertiary prevention for rehabilitation. And when I look at this, I think this is all nonsense. We should be thinking about one integral prevention, one prevention for all. A prevention that is not only for all, but has as focus health. The maintenance, the recovery, and the sustenance of health for everyone. The access to health for everyone. How? By providing access, information, education, improving lifestyle, behavior, reducing inequities, making prevention a point of departure and destiny as a main promoter of all activities that we have in healthcare, focusing on health and not on disease. We have often discussed whether we should have interventions in prevention that aim to change the distribution of the population, let's say reduce the blood pressure in everyone, or whether we should focus on those of high risk and give them antihypertensives. I think this discussion is not necessary. I think we need to combine them both, and we need to stop fighting into, is it a population or a high-risk approach? We have people that require treatment, but at the same time, we need to think of the long term, and the long term is going to require population approaches that are going to be shifting the distribution of the population in general. We need people-centered technology use. And what do I mean with people-centered technology use? The first thing is that we have health in our hands. We all now have some certain device or a mobile or anything that is helping us to understand better how we are behaving, how we are living our lives, and what we can do differently. This has brought a lot into the discussion of what are we going to do with all this technology, with all this information, with everything that we have. And we hear and hear and hear all the time a term that is called artificial intelligence. And should we be talking about artificial intelligence, or should we be using another term, which is, I think, more relevant, which is natural intelligence? We hear a lot about innovation, digitalization, digital transformation. Is this a destiny? Is this the transformation? Is this how we expect to evolve as a species? Is this the solution for all? I think it is essential that artificial intelligence is guided by natural intelligence. And I think that artificial intelligence, guided by natural intelligence, can be a path, a tool, not a destination, but a way to bring information and a way to bring health and improvements for all in an easier and more direct manner. The challenges that we face is that if we invest too much in developing artificial intelligence and too little in developing human consciousness, is that the very sophisticated artificial intelligence of computers might only serve to empower the natural stupidity of humans. And our worst nightmares, when I watch this movie, might become reality. And this is not just me trying to scare you. And it's also not something that we are not seeing today. Technology can be utilized in different manners, has completely transformed the way we communicate, but is challenging the inner structure of our own societies, communities, communication, and our own essence of human beings, where we have demonized human contact, where we have replaced a warm hug for a cold like. Is this the future of humankind? If artificial intelligence is guided by natural intelligence, there will be a lot of uses for artificial intelligence in improving diagnostics, prevention, reduction of cost, etc. Another aspect that is essential is we need to simplify the way that we communicate with people, because only if we simplify the messages that we provide, we are going to be able to implement better. And I summarize prevention with one single word, a word that has existed for many, many centuries, millennia: hygiene, coming from Hygeia, goddess of prevention. It doesn't refer only to washing your hands, like we saw in the pandemic, but it's washing your body, washing your community, washing your planet, keeping ourselves free from toxins like no smoking, or reducing pollution to our planet. Hygiene, healthy living, and above all, what we already know for centuries as well, balance, moderation, and common sense should become the main drivers of prevention, and should be the main drivers of what we do and the decisions that we take every day to shape our trajectories of health and aging. Dissemination of integration of prevention is required at all levels of care. It's not just for the cardiologist or the pediatrician, it's for all of us. And we need to start understanding that human beings are not a collection of cells or tissues, but we are integrate beings that are living in communities. Finally, personalized solutions is something that we have heard a lot in the last decades. Personalized solutions. We are all unique, and we all want a unique solution. Is that feasible? When I was training in medicine, I used to be a very aggressive doctor. And I used to think, if you don't cut it, you don't cure it. And I was training in cardiovascular surgery. I went to do a master's in epidemiology, and then I started becoming interested in public health. Then I married a woman that keeps all the time telling me that I'm not living a good life and telling me off. And then it made me reflect a lot about it. And I think, what if you avoid it? You don't even have to cut it, cure it, or anything. Personalized medicine is the future, yes. Only on the basis of a personalized prevention. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to afford. If we are going to try to apply personalized medicine in a society of ill people, imagine having 8 billion different types of drugs for 8 billion different types of people. I think in that sense, the only way that we can have a sustainable and accessible healthcare in the future is through personalized prevention, is through prevention. And prevention should be the fundamental pillar of personalized medicine. What about the hospitals of the future? My initial drawing. I think hospitals are like cages. They have walls that keep people from being in contact with those that deliver health. And those that deliver health are caged themselves without being in contact where health is required the most, which is in the communities, which is with people. We need to be open to have hospitals that are integrated into our communities, omnipresent hospitals that are unexistent but integrated within the population. After all, we need to be conscious that health is not forged in the corridors and the bedrooms of the hospitals. It is forged in the kitchens, in the rooms, in the streets, the offices, and the classrooms where we are training the new generations. And in that sense, we need to train new generations of professionals in healthcare that are really focused on health, and we need to train new generations on how to live their life in a healthy manner. Just to conclude, I think the future of medicine lies not only in prevention, in universal access, in comprehensive community care, in good access to technology, to information. Medicine and its future relies in its return to its own essence, which is nothing else than health and well-being. We have ministries of health. What are they doing? They're working on disease. We have hospitals, healthcare professionals. What are they working? They're working on disease. We need to focus on health. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Franco, for this inspiring and enlightening presentation. You gave us lots of food for thought. I really enjoyed your presentation. So maybe we have time for one quick question in the audience, one quick comment. I think the mic is coming.
Microphone is coming. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your thoughtful presentation. One of the challenges that you said at the beginning is that I would say the lowering of the natality rate. Is this an area that public health has to be involved? About 40 years ago, I remember very clearly by the Generalitat of Catalonia that there was a poster that was saying, have one child, at the most two. Mm-hmm. I mean, public health was really going in favor and pushing for the decrease in the natality rate. Mm-hmm. And now we know that this is one of the major challenges. Is this within the area of public health or is in another area?
It's in multiple areas. It's the health of humankind. It's the future of our species itself. So limiting it to public health, I think it will be quite myopic. I think we need, it's a concerted effort of society really to understand the deep root causes of why are we facing these challenges and try to identify whether this is the nature of how humankind has evolved or whether we can provide tools for people to improve these challenges that we're facing, so fertility rates or changing in the structure of society. Public health should not be the main motor or the main driver, but should be one of the contributors. It should be a teamwork.
So, thank you very much. Then I think just to keep up with time, we should move on to the next session.
Thank you.